you guys are doing well. We're looking at our winter outlook today. Been tied up with this one simply because of the giant winter storm that we have just dealt with, Winter Storm Diaz, and then we are also looking at a big cool down with snow potential for a lot of areas that normally will not be getting snow during this time of year, especially considering the fact that we're really close to Christmas time. That being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. If you'd like the coverage up to this point on any of these storm systems that we've been following here, definitely drop me a like. I do everything I can to keep you guys updated as best as I could. The thing with this last one, I had to go out of town at one point, so it was a little trickier, but we got in there and made it happen. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at our seasonal outlook here. Just getting into January, February, and March, which encompasses the entire winter season. Now, keep in mind that this is a 3 month average, and this is very much subject to change. But as it stands right now, when we look at our forecast probability for above average or below average temperatures, a large part of the country is going to be sitting in the equal chance area, which is the area in the white here. So you could see either above or below average temperatures in this case. With the exception of the northern plains and heading into the northwest, there's moderate confidence that you would end up seeing a below average winter. So you could be seeing temperatures of probably most likely 10, 20 degrees below average throughout the 3 month period. If we were to look at this month by month, we'd be getting a different picture. And right now, I just don't really have the means to do so. But we're looking at about as much as 40 to 50% probability of that occurring. Areas in the orange, especially in the light orange areas, this is through the desert southwest, heading through the Ozarks, and then through the Ohio Valley and into the interior northeast. We're looking at a potential for slightly above average temperatures, about up to about 40%. We'll get into the figures that we're seeing right now in just a minute. Once we get into this darker shade of orange and into the red, we're getting into the 50% to 60% probability of being above average. The greatest confidence is going to be centered around the southeast, mainly around Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida. Usually nothing new for this time of year, considering we usually will have a southeast ridge that ends up taking over. So far, it hasn't really been too prevalent, but I get the feeling that that will be changing soon enough. We take a look at the precipitation outlook. And for a large part of the country, we're looking at equal opportunity here as well. Most in the white. The areas where we're seeing the green, we're looking at above average potential. And this stretches both into the Ohio Valley, northern plains, and northwest. Greatest probability of above, like well above average precip right now stands towards Idaho, Montana, and maybe small bits of North Dakota and Oregon and Washington here. Then, of course, the Ohio Valley has a greater probability. This does sneak into the Tennessee Valley as well. And the highest probability of below average precipitation right now sits towards the desert southwest. So, southwestern Texas, no surprises there. It tends to happen pretty often. Then we have southern New Mexico and parts of eastern Arizona involved in that one. Then, of course, we have over towards the southeast with that ridge taking effect. It's high pressure normally, so it can steer a lot of systems away from areas like Florida over towards the coastal southeast, and some parts, even the Gulf Coast, can be involved in that too. A lot of this will still depend on the jet stream, though, so we'll have to see how things progress with this. So let's go ahead and quickly take a look at a few things here. A large part of what led to the confidence in that track for the precip here is our low pressure anomaly map here, or MSLP anomaly. Basically, these areas right here in the blue represent cold air, red areas represent warm air. And the areas in the little bit more into the white tend to be the areas that the warm and cold air end up clashing, which is where we can get more active weather. You can see this region right here has potential for that, and then you can see a little slot right here that has potential for that too. But if you really drew it all out, it would kind of be something along these lines right here. So that pretty much explains our storm potential as of right now. Again, this can easily change. I think they update this every 15 days or so. I don't get to do these often enough yet to really get super familiar as of right now. But we will be changing that in due time. So this is looking at our, so let's look at our actual precip anomaly here. And we can see that pretty much is in concurrence with the Climate Prediction Center almost entirely. Maybe a little bit of deviance to the south, just a bit. This precip area above average is pushing a little bit more into the Tennessee Valley as well. Some areas could see up to 2 inches above average, but we're not going to read too far into the values because of how far out we are. For the most part, it's not awful if you're below average. If anywhere is below average, it's actually off the Gulf Coast here. So that might be some good news to be had there. But in overall probability, this region right here is probably going to stay below average. But that's what we have going on there. Looking like we're going to be below average, but not heavily below average in this situation, which is great news. A lot of areas here are probably going to be dry over the next month and a half or so from the time I've recorded this video. So let's go ahead and actually take a look at the temperature anomaly over the next 3 months. That's probably the biggest subject to be had here. And we can see that we've got a pretty big warm up beginning to take effect here. We can see that a lot of the southern half of the country will be sitting above average. Over towards the desert southwest, we seem to have a little bit warmer temperatures there as of right now. Can't read too far into it, but at least within the 3 month term, we could say we're about at least 2 or 3 degrees above average as a whole over the 3 month period. So there could be warmer temperatures than that on the way. About 1 to 2 degrees above average as far as the southeast is concerned. These aren't going to be astronomical totals because we're not looking at one particular month or a couple of weeks or a couple of weeks, so to speak. Cold air looks like it's kind of retreating throughout the winter from the looks of this here right now. Towards the far northern states seems to be where our coldest air will be existing. But who's to say that one of these months we don't have extremely cold weather come back into effect? I think January will have the highest likelihood of that so far. Maybe March might sneak up on us, but I think February in particular we might be above average. At this point, these are just more or less guesses, though. We're looking more towards trends, and we'll just have to see what happens from there. But that's the end of this video here. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, definitely drop me a like. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Are you looking for more warmer weather this winter? Or are you looking for colder weather? Are you looking for snow? Just let me know. But anyway, this has been Tyler Metalhead Weatherman. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good night.